So today we will discuss the topic called the vascular system. In vascular system, what we are going to study about, we will talk about arteries, we will talk about veins, capillaries, and how the circulation occurs. Okay, and the what is blood pressure. Okay, so all these important things we are going to discuss in this chapter. So let's start. So basically, the heart and the vascular system. Vascular means vessels. Vascular means vessels. System means it contribute or it work the on same pathway. Okay, it have same work. Okay, so vessels which sends the bloods, receive the blood are known as vascular system. Okay, the role of blood vessels in the circulation of blood has been known since 1628. So when did we know about blood vessels? They are blood vessels, and in the blood vessels, the blood is circulating. So when we know about that, we know in 1628. Who is that discoverer? William Harvey. He is a anatomist. Okay, or he demonstrate that blood in veins always flowed towards the heart. Before that time, it has believed that blood was static or stationary, some of it within the vessels, but the rest sort of is puddles through the body. Harvey showed that blood indeed does move and only in the blood vessels. So he did not know of the existing of capillaries. In the century that followed, the active roles of the vascular system were discovered and all contributed to homeostasis. So basically, in the initial days, only William Harvey told that the blood it is present in the capillaries. It will come forward or towards the heart. He doesn't able to discover about capillaries and other things, but later on, how the research goes on, uh, number of scientists came. Okay, they discovered lots of things. So basically, what did vascular system consist? It consists arteries, it consists capillaries, it consists veins. So it is related to the heart. So heart pumps the blood. So these are the accessories. Okay. So like we have motor in our home. Okay. We connect one pump to the motor and one pump to another sides. So pump what will do? It will receive water from those area the water is stored, and the uh, the the pump what will be do? It will throw the water away. So where the water needed. Okay. So from one place to another place, we have to travel the water. We need pressure. So the pressure is given by the motor because if the water tank is above 2 floors. So what will happen? You need pressure. So gravity against the gravity. So okay, yeah, the gravitational force of Earth is uh, forcing towards the Earth. So we want the water against the gravitational force. So you need motor pump which will forcefully, pressurefully throw away the water from the ground level to the second floor. Okay, so like that we had one motor that is hard. So they want to pump the blood, so they need pipeline. So we have two types of pipeline. Okay, so we need uh, one pipeline to receive the blood, one pipeline to send the oxygenated or deoxygenated blood. So that's the reason we have arteries and veins and capillaries. Okay, so basically the pressure the heart pumps. Okay, then the blood is touch. or forcefully uh, touch to the arteries. Okay, so we measure this is as blood pressure. Okay, so basically we will talk all those things in this lecture in detail. So now we will discuss about arteries first. Okay, we discuss arteries. Arteries, what is artery? Artery is carry blood from the heart to the capillaries. Okay, small arteries are called arterioles. So what is arteries? Artery which carries blood away from the heart. So basically this is the heart. We have heart. Okay, so heart is pumping the blood. Okay, so we are calling is art. So if there is big artery, we'll know name as aorta also. Okay, and the small artery, the narrowing of blood vessels happen. So what will happen? We name as arteriole. Okay, so basically the this is the arteriole and this is aorta. Along all this we will call artery. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay, if we look at the artery in cross section, we will find three layers or tunics of tissues, each with different function. So basically this is the artery. Okay, basically if we cut down from horizontal level, from posterior level, okay, what will it will look, it will have three layers, one, two, and three. Okay, one, this is the pink color, is this is light brown, this is mild yellow in color. So this is the artery, and this is the second one is vein, bluish color. Okay, this is the vein and this is the artery. Okay, first we will talk about artery. The innermost layer is called tunica intima. So what is the innermost layer name? So this is the name of tunica intima. So this is the tunica intima. Okay, and it is lined with endothelium. What is its lining? Its line is endothelium. Is the only part of vessel that is contact with blood. It is made of simple squamous epithelium called endothelium. First thing we have to remember that arteries, small arteries are known as arterioles, and if you cut in cross section, what we'll able to see that it have three layers. How many layers it have? It have three layers. Innermost layer, okay, first layer, second layer, third layer. So this is the innermost layer. What's its name? Its name is tunica intima. So this is the name. So but from which cell it made up of? It made up of endothelium. Okay, this lining is the same type of tissue that form the endocardium, the lining of the chambers of the heart. As you might guess, its function is also the same. Its extreme smoothness prevents abnormal blood clotting. The endothelium of vessels, however, also produce nitric oxide, which is vasodilator. Okay, so two things you have to remember, that is inner line is tunica intima and it is made up of endothelium. So why endothelium? If you have any question, that why endothelium? Because it makes blood flow smoothly and it will avoid blood clotting. And also it have one type of, it will produce, means the endothelium vessels also produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide, what it will do? It will dilate the vessel, blood vessel. Okay, so they can easily the blood can flow. Okay, so tunica intima is the innermost layer, and the second thing you have to remember, it is made up of endothelium. Third thing is made up of, why endothelium? Because the blood flows smoothly and it will avoid blood clotting. Okay, and fifth thing you have to remember that it will produce which endothelium produce nitric oxide, which is important for vasodilator. Okay, next come to second layer, the tunica media. Tunica media or middle layer is made up of smooth muscle and elastic connective tissue. Both of these tissues are involved in the maintenance of normal blood pressure, especially diastolic blood pressure when the heart is relaxed. The smooth muscle is the tissue affected by the vasodilator nitric oxide. Relaxation of the muscles tissue brings about dilation of the vessel. Smooth muscle also have nerve supply. Sympathetic nerve impulse bring about vasoconstriction. Fibrous connective tissue forms the outer layer. So here from here, second layer. The second layer name is tunica media. First layer is tunica intima in from the inner side, and the out from the middle tunica media. So basically it is made up of smooth muscle and elastic connective tissue. So it is smoothness also, and it able to uh, expand himself. Okay, if the blood is coming from mouth pressure, so it will expand himself, so dilate himself because of the presence of elasticity. Okay, elasticity, and main thing is that this elasticity and this smoothness will maintain the blood in normal. What it maintain blood in normal range, mainly diastolic blood pressure. Diastolic blood pressure is when the heart is relaxed. Okay, so basically tunica media is made up of smooth and elastic connective tissue. First thing. Second thing, you have to remember that it maintain blood pressure. So very very important. Okay. And third thing, what we have to know about the tunica media, that is it have nerve supply. What does it have? It have nerve supply, that is sympathetic nerve impulse. Sympathetic. So sympathetic nerve supply, what it will do? It will vasoconstriction. So whenever blood pressure decreased, so what will happen? Vasoconstriction will happen. Okay, so this is the thing. We have to remember three things we have to remember about tunica media. One thing is made up of smooth and elastic connective tissue, smooth muscle and elastic connective tissue. First thing. And second thing is that it maintains blood pressure. Third thing that it have nerve supply, which does vasoconstriction, and which constrict the which uh, decrease the area of the vessel when needed when we have low BP. Okay, next we come to the third layer, that is tunica externa. Tunica is made up of fibrous connective tissue. Fibrous is very tough. Okay, very strong also. Okay, which is important to prevent the rupture or bursting of the large arteries that carry blood under high pressure. So tunica made up of fibrous connective tissue, but in the small arteries the pressure is very small, but is big arteries like we have uh, we have the arteries which are aorta. Okay, aorta, vein from veins, superior vena cava, inferior vena cava. This will bring lot of blood from with pressure. Okay, with pressure, what will happen if the pressure is more? The way arteries or veins will burst, will rupture. Okay, so what will happen? So avoiding that type of pressure, so what we need tough layer. So tough layer is made up of fibrous connective tissue. Okay, the outer and middle layer of large arteries quite thick. In the small arterioles, only individual smooth muscles cells encircle the tunica intima. As mentioned, the smooth muscle layer enables arteries to constrict or dilate. Such changes in diameter are regularly by the medulla and autonomic nervous system, and we'll discuss in the later section of blood pressure. So basically, you have to remember that the outer and the middle layer are very thick. Okay, so basically, some arterioles which have smooth muscle, the middle tunica media. Okay, tunica media. So tunica media, tunica intima outer cycle. Tunica intima is covered with tunica media. Tunica media is covered with tunica externa. Okay. So basically blood pressure, I told you that in the second layer we have the blood pressure maintenance. Okay. Because of the sympathetic pathway, nerves are connected to second layer. Okay. So we discussed about arteries. So three things we have to remember: the layers, the how it matters up of, and what function it will do. This is very, very important. And the veins also is made up of same layers. Okay, no exception, because it also receive the blood from the veins. So you are receiving the blood, so we need pressure. Okay, so likewise veins also made up of same layers. So but in the veins something is different than artery. Veins carry blood from capillaries back to the heart. What veins do? Vein will take away blood from the body to the heart. So this is the first thing important. And the third thing is that this veins also known as venules. Small veins are known as venules, and small arteries is known as arterioles. The three layers are present in the veins in the walls of arteries, but there are some difference when compared to the arterial layers. The inner layer of the veins is smooth endothelium, but at intervals this lining is folded to form the valves. Valves present black flow of blood are most numerous in veins of the legs, where blood must often return to the heart against the force of gravity. So here we have to remember that the one thing is very different from the arteries. It is in the inner layer, endothelium layer. This is the endothelium layer, tunica intima, tunica media, tunica externa. Tunica intima is made up of endothelium because to avoid blood clotting, okay, it will the blood flow smoothly. So endothelium it have valves. This is the valve. You are saying what will valve do? It is the valve will avoid black backflow of blood. So basically blood have to go forward. Okay, okay, but to avoid to go back flow, so we have valves in some places of veins in endothelium mostly. The middle layer of the veins is a thin layer of smooth muscle, and the thin because veins do not regulate blood pressure and blood flow into capillaries arteries do. Veins can constrict extensively, however, and this function becomes very important such as severe hemorrhage. The outer layer of veins is also thin, not as much fibrous connective tissue is necessary because blood pressure in veins is very low. So second layer, third layer are also important, but more important layer is inner layer because inner layer have valves and other things are same like as arteries. Okay, so this is the diagram of arteries and veins. So you have to draw the diagram, then only you will are able to understood very clearly. So let's see that some names here. So this is the artery. Okay, this is the artery, whole artery. This is a small artery, arteriole. Okay, and this is the capillary. Okay, which is connecting arteries to artery veins, blood flow. Okay, some blood flow will enter into the veins also, some will remain extra interstitial fluid. Okay, fluid. Okay, and it will also remains, it will go into the lymphatic drainage also, so we'll discuss in later. So next is anastomosis. Anastomosis, I told you that this is the connection. Okay, so let's see the connection. The And anastomosis is a connection or joining of vessels, that is artery to artery or vein to vein. The general purpose of these connections is to provide alternate pathway for the flow of blood if one vessel becomes obstructed. So basically, what we have in the arteries, in the veins, there is connection between arteries to arteries, veins to veins. So that connection is named as anastomosis. What is named as anastomosis? What is anastomosis? Anastomosis is the joining or connection of arteries. Okay. Why this joining is there? Because whenever in a artery, if you think that this is a artery and another artery is there, so if there is a blockage here, okay, any obstruction happened here, so we have another pathway to flow the blood, another pathway to flow the blood to reach the target area. Okay, this is the thing we have to remember. Okay, so this is known as anastomosis. An arterial anastomosis helps ensure that blood will go to the capillaries of an organ to deliver oxygen and nutrition and to remove waste products. There are arterial anastomosis, for example, between some of the coronary arteries, the blood supply to the myocardium. The venous anastomosis helps ensure that blood will be able to return to the heart in order to the pump again. Venous anastomosis are most numerous among the veins of the legs when the possibility of obstruction increases as a person gets older. So let's so basically, so why you need anastomosis or alternate pathway? Because whenever any obstruction happen, so you need alternate path. Okay, so here nature give us alternate pathway both in arteries and both in veins. So here an example given, that is in the artery, in the arteries, in the coronary artery, means in the heart. So we have myocardium, endocardium, myocardium, the vessels of the the muscles of the heart. Okay, so for myocardium, the blood supply through the coronary arteries. So whenever coronary one artery is blocked, we have the another alternate path which will supply the blood to the myocardium. Likewise, in the venous system also we have anastomosis. So basically, what is help of anastomosis? So whenever blood is not reaching to the target organ, it will take alternate pathway to reach the blood. Okay, so this is the importance of anastomosis. Next, here we have some disorders of arteries. Let's discuss the disorders of arteries here. One is atherosclerosis, arteriosclerosis, arteriosclerosis, aneurysm, and atherosclerosis. So basically, atherosclerosis is studied in previous chapter, circulatory system or heart. What is arteriosclerosis? Let's talk about arteriosclerosis. So commonly called hardening of the artery. What is sclerosis? Sclerosis means hardening of arterio. Arterio means artery. Hardening of artery. That artery lose their elasticity. So where does elasticity is there? Elasticity is there. We in the second layer, middle layer. Okay, tunica media, because it is made up of smooth muscle and elastic connective tissue. So the second layer is damaged. What will happen? The hardening of blood vessels is seen. Arteries carry blood under high pressure, so deterioration of the walls is part of aging process. So when will happen? During age, high aged people have the disorders of arteries here. So basically, when the arteries become stiff, so we will call or hard, we will call is arteriosclerosis. Next is aneurysm. So what will happen if the arteries become hard? The blood pressure increases. When the arteries are thick, so blood is not going through the arteries, it is hard. What will happen? Blood pressure increases. Okay. Next we have aneurysm. Aneurysm is the breakdown of artery. A weak portion of arterial wall may bulge out, forming a sac or bubble called an aneurysm. Arteriosclerosis is possible cause, but some aneurysms are congenital. An aneurysm may be present for many years without any symptoms and may only be discovered during diagnostic procedure for some other purpose. The most common site of aneurysm formation is cerebral arteries and the aorta, especially the abdominal aorta. Rupture of cerebral aneurysm is a possible cause of cerebrovascular accident. Rupture of an aortic aneurysm is a life-threatening and requires immediate corrective surgery. The damaged portion of the artery is removed and placed with a graft. So surgery may also be performed when an aneurysm is found before it ruptures. So basically aneurysm means bulging of artery. Basically this is, we'll see. So this is normally happen. This is an artery. So artery is bulged out. What will happen? Like balloon. Okay, like what will happen then? It will become weaker and blood come out from this bubble. Next, like this. This is the first. Gradually will happen. It will burst and blood will come out. Okay. So most common site of aneurysm that is in brain. Okay, in the brain, most common. And the second is aorta. In the aorta, the most common site. Okay. So what will we do? We have to operate immediately because it is life threatening. Okay. So we talked about disorder of arteries. Now we have disorders of veins also, that is phlebitis, varicose veins, and hemorrhoids. Phlebitis is known as inflammation of vein. Okay, mostly it is happen in the legs because the legs in the we have the one thing we have to remember that we have the valves in the veins. So in the legs we have number of valves because we will assume that is the second heart of the body because they have to pump the blood from legs to heart. Okay. So what will happen? The sometimes the valves become hard. Okay. So the the blood cannot be passed through the veins, so it remains there only. So it will become inflammation of the veins. Okay. Same as varicose veins also uh, same like, but it is inflammation here. Veins become swollen. There is inflammation only. There is pain, tenderness, redness, everything is there in phlebitis. In varicose vein we have the swallowing veins. If the most part is stretched or swallow, so what will happen? The patient is still about that pain. Okay. In the phlebitis what will happen? Let's discuss that. Often no specific cause be determined, but advancing age, obesity, and blood disorders may be predisposing factors. So what is the reasons? Age, obesity, blood disorders. Okay. If your superficial vein is affected, the area may be tender or painful, but flow is usually maintained because there is so many anastomosis among these veins. Deep vein phlebitis potential more serious with the possibility of clot formation. Okay. You can also know, n- name as DVT also, deep vein thrombosis. In that, in the vein we have clots. Okay. So we have varicose veins. It is swollen and distant veins that occur most often in the superficial veins of the legs. This condition may develop in people who must sit or stand in one place for long period of time. So who will happen varicose vein? Who will stand in one place without contraction of leg muscles, blood tendons to pull in the leg veins, stretching their walls. If the veins becomes overstretched, the valve within them no longer close properly. These incomplete valves no longer close properly, no longer prevent black flow of blood, leading to further pooling and even further stretching of the walls of the veins. Varicose vein may cause discomfort and cramping in the limbs or become even more painful. Severe varicocele may remove surgically. This condition may also help during pregnancy, may develop during pregnancy when the enlarged uterus press against the iliac veins and show blood flow into the inferior vena cava. Varicose veins of the anal canal called hemorrhoids. So basically, who stands in one place, who sit in one place, okay, who pressure on the legs is more. So basically, what will happen? The valves cannot be closed completely. So, so this is the valve we have to be closed, okay, completely, but it will open some, okay, it open. What will happen? Blood remains some part here only. What will happen? It will remains and it will becomes clogged. It will swallow the veins. So it is very painful when it will becomes most of the things, okay. And we have to remember uh, that if it is becomes more seriously, we have to remove by surgically, okay. So next is hemorrhoids. Swallowing hemorrhoids, veins in the anal canal is known as hemorrhoids, which may also be a result of pregnancy or chronic constipation. So reasons are hemorrhoids, maybe pregnancy or constipation. Varicose vein will happen to the pregnancy ladies also. Okay, and straining to deficit. More pressure is given when you are going to motion. Okay, so this is the reason also for hemorrhoids that cause discomfort, pain, maybe remote surgical development in surgery have made. It's a simple procedure that it was in the past. So basically, so all these three things nowadays are going surgically. So people cannot maintain their body. They want to stand, they want to sit, but they cannot give proper rest to the body. Then only these diseases are happening. So so this is about veins, disorders of veins and arteries. Tomorrow we will discuss about capillaries. So any doubts you can ask.
Okay, sir. I will please send the videos also again, sir.
Definitely.
We
You
know.
will get the
Okay.
video. Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Welcome.